Hello, everyone. How are you doing? This is Daryl Guberman, CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, a quality consulting firm here in Connecticut. Background being aerospace, medical implants, medical materials, printing, and plastic distribution, where we dealt with all industries. Today, I understand we've been watching it and laughing and chuckling because we know the truth, and we're going to tell you this truth right now. Because as David Foster Wallace said, the truth will set you free, but not until it is finished with you. And it has not finished through what I'm telling you about Boeing and the rest of the aerospace industry, but Boeing in particular. You have the gentleman behind me. You have Mr. Stan Deal, who says we must maintain within our four walls quality. Yet in 2002, you'll find out that they gave their suppliers authority. They basically relegated them. If you have an AS9100 certificate and you're ANSI ANAB accredited, what they do is they say, send us your certificate. I'll show you the document. Send us your certificate, then send us your parts. We don't have to send any source inspection. Though they did minor evaluations where they contacted ANSI ANAB because they had problems, like in 2008 with a heads-up 116. They had an issue with a lot of non-responsiveness when it came to the registrars. Why? Because ANSI ANAB and Boeing sits on ANSI ANAB's board. On top of it, Boeing sits on ANAB's board that can grant, suspend, and withdraw certification. They also sit on the management board, which guides the company in its function. That's incorrect. That is not confidence in the quality and integrity that those certificates are issuing. It just made Boeing a little bit easier so they don't have to send source inspection in. This video today is about FAA official pressed on safety concerns after door plug blowout from the Alaska airline. Daryl Guberman is going to explain why briefly. You can find the rest of the data, the pertinent stuff, down below, because this is where we tell it as it is. In 2002, Boeing put out this supplier notification that basically said an on-site Boeing survey of suppliers' quality system if need be. Our preference is to deal with proven suppliers with excellent quality performance and not have to do on-site quality system audits. What they did in 2002, because they're with ANSI ANAB, they sat on the boards, and what they did is they said, look, you send us your quality AS9100 certificate accredited by ANSI ANAB, and just send it to us, and then you send us parts, and that's it, game over. Also, what they did as well is they have the IAQG. The IAQG, the International Aerospace Quality Group, or as we fondly call it, is aircraft quality good, which it's not. As we can see with Boeing, they handle the online aerospace supplier information systems, which means this is another way for Boeing not to use inspection, because what this is this online system shows Boeing and Lockheed, other aerospace companies at their fingertips who is AS9100 and who is accredited by ANSI ANAB. Those are the main certificate accreditation that is on there. Also, ANSI ANAB are underwriters for the International Accreditation Form, which is a repository for both national and international accreditation bodies. Those bodies that sit on there, okay, are equivalent to ANSI ANAB. Thus, ANSI ANAB being the underwriter for the IAF and also for the International Laboratory Accreditation Cooperation, or as we fondly call it, is laboratory accreditation credible. Out in Australia, they too are also underwriters. We go to 2000, and by the way, on that online system, as I said, that's another way for Boeing and Lockheed not to send inspection to these facilities of their source inspectors. You don't even know if they're freaking making those parts on a dirt floor. You know, as a friend of mine in purchasing at one of the aerospace companies said, you know, Daryl, sometimes I'll go to the supplier because we have to do it for purchasing, and they are working out of their garage. And what they do is they take that AS9100 certificate and you're good to go. So this is an actual document, an article that was put out in 2009, then reformatted in 2019 to add more information to it. But it says this: the FAA increased authority of Boeing's commercial airlines division for self-certify its own aircraft. What it does is it allows Boeing employees to perform tasks on behalf of the FAA that include oversight of testing and product standards, along with certification of aircraft technologies and new aircraft designs. So I'm going to say this: the gentleman who's being inquisitioned from the FAA. How can a regulator regulate a regulator? Boeing is a regulator since 2009 for the FAA. You can't make this up. And you have Boeing sitting there, okay? Boeing on ANSI's board and also ANAB's board. ANSI took over complete control over ANAB in 2018. This is their supplier portal, Boeing. If you look at it today, it will say ANSI ASQ, which is still ANAB, but it was the American National Standards Institute, which owned ANAB 50%, and ASQ, the American Society for Quality, which owned ANAB 50%. What happens is this: in 2018, ANSI took over complete control over ANAB, and they haven't upgraded their systems yet. It's been like that for 6 years. If Boeing was proud of their quality, how hard is it to tell the IT guy to change it to ANSI-ANAB? Isn't that a tender moment? And then the international equivalent you can find out is more than likely Iran and Pakistan, because they too sit on the IAF and they are equivalent in accreditation to ANAB. We're going to show you this. This is basically a flow chart of Boeing's nightmare and disaster. I'm going to go over here. You have underwriters, ANSI, ANAB. ANSI, ANAB are the underwriters for IAF and ILAC, which evaluates and assumes another party's risk for a fee. Also, you have the International Accreditation Form and also ILAC here. You have oversight. They oversight the registrar or accreditation bodies, which are here. And then these 7 registrars sit on ANSI's board, right over by the accreditation body that they use. And then you have Boeing over here as the certified organization. So you see how incestuous this is. Quality is in disarray. The last thing we're going to show you, ladies and gentlemen, 2 things, is that yes, they sit over by the FAA on ANSI's board. And also, they also got caught fudging documentation. Boeing did. Isn't that a tender moment in a turbulent world? Unbelievable. Just most recently, they got fined $8.1 million by the DOJ. Their composite facility, the Bell Boeing composite facility, got fined $8.1 million for fudging documentation between the years of 2007 and 2011. So I'm going to say this. FAA official pressed on safety concerns with the door plug blowout from Alaska Air. Daryl Guberman explains. Let me just explain this to you. How in good conscience can the FAA, as a regulator who issued FAA regulatory authority in 2019 to Boeing, how can they come up with some sort of fix? Now they're all panicky. It's disgusting. My telephone number is 203-556-1493 or Daryl, Daryl, TQRS at yahoo.com. And I say this again from Sophocles. I rather fail with integrity than to win with fraud. I rather fail with integrity than to win with fraud. And this is a big scam right now. You have the FAA, who issued regulatory authority to Boeing in 2009, as I showed you in that article. You have now Boeing, who's a regulatory authority, which didn't take the respect, which comes from the top, didn't take the respect. If I was the CEO of Boeing, I would be on that floor every day being the best cheerleader that I could be, because that's what it takes. When you have regulatory authority from a federal agency, they just poo-pooed it because what? The FAA and Boeing sit on ANSI's board. There you go. Oops, there you go.